Hey, gorgeous.
Hi, we talked the other day.
Yes, we did. Where you from again, Sister Mill?
Columbia, South Carolina.
Columbia, South Carolina. What is your take on a 50-50 rule? Can a brother step to you and say, listen, I'm struggling and I need you to help me. I love you, but we're going to have to work this thing down the middle, 50-50. Can you handle that? And what if the brother says, I could take care of the whole bill, but because you earn too, it's only right that you meet me down the middle. Does your position change based on whether your man is of means or is not of means?
No, so I mean, if he's my man, not 10 times out of 10, I already know his financial situation. So, if I decided to make him my man and he didn't have enough money to support us 50-50, that's not gonna bother me. But if he most definitely can handle handle, we're not living out crazy, I don't live crazy. I don't have like a lavish apartment or a lifestyle or whatever the case may be. And he's like, no, I don't want to support you 50-50. Then no, sorry, you can't be my man. Only because I feel like if a man really loves you, he's gonna want to provide for you. Point blank. Period. I feel like he's gonna want to.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
You said if he really loves you and cares for you, he's going to want to provide 100%.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
But that's how I feel about it, about a man. And but if he is not financially stable, I do believe if he loves you and he knows the type of woman you are, whatever the case may be, he's gonna work towards being able to take care of you. So I do feel like it's situational, and it just really depends on the man, I guess. But for me, it depends on the man and the situational.
Now, let me push back. Some brothers might say, if we get a divorce, 9 times out of 10, the courts are going to let you clean my pocket. So what's wrong with me asking you to meet me 50-50? Because if this situation ends, 9 times out of 10, you're going to leave with 80 or 90%. So you mean to tell me you're going to benefit from all my money? I'm not going to benefit from none of your money. And when we get divorced, you get everything that I have. How is it in reality? It's like, why do you think about death? Why do you get insurance? You're not hoping to get into a car accident, but there's a strong possibility that you could get into a car accident. Half of all marriages in America end in divorce. Half of them, black, white, purple. So what's your take on that? Y'all don't have a prenup. Stay with me. Y'all don't have a prenup. And he can afford to pay all the bills. But you have a damn good, decent job too. So he's saying, is it fair that you benefit from my entire paycheck, save all of yours, and if we get a divorce after you benefited from my whole paycheck for 20, 30 years, you can walk off with 70, 80% of my life earnings? Is that fair to the man?
No, I'm gonna say it's not fair to the man, but it depends on the reason we're getting a divorce. If we are getting divorced because, there was infidelities, sir, you're gonna have to pay up because you should have. I feel like you should have known better if it was infidelities on his part. But me being the type of female I am, I'm not gonna want that. I just want the situation to be clean. We just go our separate ways. If we got kids, we're gonna have to figure that out. But if not, we just go our separate ways. But I don't, it just, like I said, everything is situational.
I got you.
For me.
How do you feel about the 80% rule? Sisters who say if you can't pay at least 80% of the bills, why are you looking for marriage in the first place?
I don't 100% agree with it, but I don't disagree with it. I do think if you are looking to get married, you should be in a place where you're financially comfortable and you're able to take on that, only because you never know what could happen. And I do kind of feel like that about women. Like when I go on dates, I don't order anything I can't pay for myself if it come down to it. I'm not going to do that. So I feel like, you know, if you can support 80%, and I know you can, but you don't want to, but you're trying to get married. I don't know. We just gonna have to either have a deeper conversation one more time, or we, just gonna have to make a decision on what we're gonna do.
Have you ever been
But
on a date and a man asks you to pay half?
he asked me to pay half. No.
Okay. What's one or two things you're just tired of seeing black men do in relationships? What are black women tired of seeing from us?
In relationships or just in general?
Dating or in the relationships in general?
To be honest, I haven't really had that many relationships, so I really can't give a honest opinion from my point of view. But um, dealing with my friends and seeing how their relationships go, I think that black men struggle with I'm not going to say being a man, but just taking that leadership role. I feel like a lot of black men care about what other black men think about them and their decisions and what they do, how they treat their female, how they treat their females and stuff like that. So I think black men just really just need to have a mind of their own
So when
instead.
So you brought up something I hadn't heard before. You said black men worry too much about what other black men think about their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So are you saying that there's brothers out here who would probably be a little bit more honorable and have a little bit more chivalry with women, but they don't want to appear like a simp to other brothers, so they might kind of disrespect or neglect the sisters because they want to appear cool and not appear simpish, so they may pull back on the level of respect that they show?
Maybe not like the level of respect, but just like, like he might kind of like disregard her feelings and say something out the way because he like in front of other people, he don't want people, but like behind closed doors, he might be a completely different way.
So
I have
yeah, so
seen.
you saying so you are kind of saying that he may show you a little less respect
Oh yeah.
around other black men because he don't want to appear. Wait, let me say this another way. Are you saying that black men don't like to show other black men when they care about a black woman?
Yeah, I do feel that
Wow.
way. I don't feel like all of them are
Now,
that way.
are you
I
in your
don't
late
feel that
20s or
way.
your 30s?
I'm in my late 20s.
You're in your okay. So the brothers in their 20s, if we just dealt with the 20s, you say for them, there's a lot of peer pressure
Mm-hmm.
that goes into how they treat you publicly.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep there. I never heard that, but I can see how that could be true. Let me flip this. Let me flip this, and this will be my last question for you, beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Where can women in their 20s, your age group, where could they also improve? Like, what are you seeing women your age do that is unbecoming of a young black woman on the dating scene? What do you wish the sisters would stop doing in their 20s?
Honestly, I do kind of wish we would stop being so revealing, be in behaving a certain way in public, only because if we go out the house half naked, but then we get somebody talking about our butt or whatever we showing, how are you going to get mad and be like, he disrespectful, but you're revealing that, I do wish that we would carry ourselves a little bit more modest. I understand, you're young and turnt or whatever the case may be, but you should always present yourself the way that you would want to be approached. If I want to be approached like a lady, I'm gonna go out in public looking like a lady. If I want to be, I don't. If like I said, I'm single, so I don't leave the house with a bonnet, pajamas on, things like that. Like just be more mindful of how we present ourselves in public and to other
Well,
people.
well said. My last question for you, Princess, and this is Dr. Umar just picking on my little sister. When I look at you, I see a beautiful face, those big, pretty eyes, that beautiful skin, that cute nose, them luscious lips. Why are you wearing them eyelashes? Because you don't need them. You're beautiful. Why do you have them? Was that
Uh,
peer pressure?
no, it's not peer pressure at all. It's
Why do
just
you
my
have the
personal
eyelashes?
preference.
You have
It's my
thick, pretty eyebrows. Why do you need the eyelashes?
my personal preference. I don't like how I'm not gonna say I
No,
don't like
what was
how
you
I
about to
look.
say? You don't like,
I
he's about
was
to say
gonna
you
say
didn't like
that, but
about yourself.
that's not true. That's not true. That I don't like how I look without the eyelashes. But I mean, sometimes, so I don't do a lot of makeup when I want to
Okay.
look, approachable or whatever the case may be. I don't do a lot of makeup, so this is it. And I'm gonna put on some lip gloss, maybe some lip liner, but that's it. So this is just a little enhancer, but for me. But but what's crazy is I honestly get the most attention when I'm completely just bare, just nothing.
Okay.
That's when I get the most attention, to be honest. But
Okay.
I like eyelashes. I like the way they look.
Got you, Mom. Thanks for tapping in,
Yeah.
Princess. Appreciate
Have a good
you.
night.
All right now. Got to support the young people. Support the young people. What do y'all think about the 50-50 rule? Y'all tapping in with the Prince live from Atlanta, Georgia. Shout out to all my Atlanta Africans. Shout out to all my Atlanta Africans. Who tapping in? Who tapping in? Let's go to Natasha Brown. Natasha Brown, are you going to tap in this time or are you still hiding? Natasha Brown, where you at? Natasha Brown, where you at? There you go. How you
Hey,
doing?
I'm doing well, Dr. Umar. How
I'm
you
doing
doing?
well, beautiful. Where you at in the world?
I am in Atlanta.
Oh, you in Atlanta with me? All right, Queen.
I
What
am.
are, what are your thoughts on the 50-50 rule? Is it acceptable for the brothers to ask the sisters to meet them at the middle, 50% financial responsibility for both sides in the marriage? Are you comfortable with that? Why or why not?
Um, so we're talking about at a point in the relationship where we are already married, where he's ready to ask me to be married, or where we're
In
dating.
the
In
beginning, yeah,
the beginning.
you know this coming in. He's being upfront coming in. I need you to meet me 50-50 down the middle. And does it make a difference to you, Queen, whether he is struggling economically when he brings you that proposal versus if he could pay the whole thing, but feel as though it's only right that you meet him down the middle because you also have a decent income? Does
Mhm.
that make
So I think that it is very, very situational. I think we're talking about a numbers game, and if we're talking strictly numbers, I don't think it's a conversation that can be had. So if we're talking about a man who is kind of financially well, first of all, let's talk about the numbers, because in America, only about 14% of people in America at large make more than $100,000. So given that one fact, given other factors like women and black women specifically would likely make more than a black man, would likely be a little more educated than a black man. All those kind of things that contribute to the numbers specifically. I think that I would have to ask questions and I'd have to be open to looking at the other parts of that man. So if he's asking me to go 50-50 because he can't do it right now, then I'd have to look at what he is doing to contribute in other ways such that he's not taking away anything from our relationship. I'm not sure how I feel about a person saying at the beginning of the relationship, so I'm not talking about at the very beginning coming in with that because I don't know that I'd have that particular conversation. So if he's struggling, then I'd have to look at the other factors. If we're further in the relationship and say, for example, we have kids together, how is he contributing to the house in other ways? If we are trying to build a certain thing, if we're building business, if he's going to school, if he's doing this or doing that, how is he contributing to the plan that we've put together as a unit? And I think that can function at any, I mean, now that I'm kind of talking it through and thinking at the same time, but I think that can happen at any point of the relationship. If you don't got it, then what are we doing now and how are you contributing to what we're doing now? And more importantly, how are you not taking away from what I have already, from what we could be doing? And if you're not contributing at all, if you're not filling the other gaps that don't have anything to do with the numbers because you just don't got it, then you can't have me. So that's my opinion on that. If he does have it and he just wants me to go 50-50 just because, then it would kind of be the same thing in terms of what are you doing? Like what are the other things that you're doing to contribute to where we're going? In fact, if I may have a good job, I may be able to contribute some of it, but are you putting me in a position to make more money to contribute to the household, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense? Again, what are you doing to enhance the situation overall, and based on the plan that we have as a unit wherever we are in our relationship? So does that answer the question?
I'm with you. I'm with you. What do you think about the 80% rule? Some women say that if you can't afford 80% of the family's expenses, you shouldn't be looking to be married anyway.
I think that directly correlates to the fact that most people don't make enough money in America to take care of a whole family at all. So we can look at men who could probably do that, but the truth about those men, in my opinion, is they can have any woman that they want because they make enough money to do that. They're kind of able to just choose at that point in their life. But the reality of where we are in America, I think that it's definitely situational. The reality of where we are with our economy, the reality of where we are in terms of our mental health, of the pressure that we have as women, the pressure that we have, that our men have as Black men. I think that the 80-20 rule might be a little bit antiquated. Now, I certainly understand that most, well, I can't say most, but I believe that most men, however they look at it, are really kind of traditional. I think that it would probably hurt their ego if they weren't able to provide. Just like the previous lady said, if they really love you, they're going to want to provide for you. But again, there's a reality that's happening in America right now. So at this point, I don't think the numbers should be the number one thing. I think the numbers should be a supplement to the plan, and then whatever we do, whatever needs to happen to reach that goal, to see the plan through, let's do that.
Got you. Have you ever dated outside of your race? Why
No.
not?
Ab-
Would
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
would you?
Would I? Um, I have considered it recently. But if you had asked me 2 years ago, before I got divorced, I would have said absolutely not. But now I am back on the dating scene, and the truth is the pickings are just slim. Like they're just slim. And I live in Atlanta. So if you have a 50-50 chance in another city, I got about a 10% chance in Atlanta of finding my person. So either I have to move, look outside of this city, or be open to dating other races. Now, I will say I don't know how that could happen because I don't know how, like I don't really relate to white people in that kind of way, but I've thought about the short answer is I've thought about it, so I don't know. I've considered it
Got
though.
you.
Mhm.
What are one or two things
Mhm.
that you're tired of seeing from Black men at this stage in your life? What should Black men have given up by now that you're still seeing?
Lying about who they are to themselves.
What you mean by that? Break that down a little bit.
Um, uh,
Give me an example.
Again, an example would be being able to provide. Like the truth is, the average or median income for a man is about $50,000. I'm gonna kind of switch some things up about this story, but I'll just say I was with someone. I was with someone who, when we dated, he paid for everything. Like he went all out, did all the things. Well, I can't really hide the story. So he did all the things. Then we got married, and that's when all the things kind of had to stop because he spent all his money doing all the things through the dating.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
that's the example there is no, you really don't have it. So through the dating phase, you probably shouldn't have been taking me on trips. You probably shouldn't have been buying me this, buying me that, because the truth is, I just liked you in the first place. Um, so if I like you, then be honest with yourself. Be honest enough with yourself to be able to say, hey, here's where, to be able to have the conversation that you're trying to have, that we're having, and
Yeah.
have that conversation honestly. Because if you can't, so if, I mean, and that's across the board, from how you are, from what you have financially, from really what your mental and emotional state might be, even your health. Like, I know people who have gotten in relationships, and they seemed to be healthy, but they knew they were about to die. Like,
Wow.
I've heard those stories. Now, I said
Wow.
I know somebody, but I've heard those stories. Those stories are more common than we might think. Uh-oh. Sorry, I just got home. Yeah. So literally, it's just knowing who you are, owning who you are, and being okay enough with that to show me who that person is, so we can make real decisions about what we want from there. And then being okay with rejections, because I might not like that, but me not liking that really is okay. Or me not liking that could give you the opportunity to say, well, you see that a little bit. You see, I didn't see that the way you see it. Here's how I think it really is. Or you can say, I know you don't like this, so I'm going to try my best to change it.
Mhm.
But if you tell me a lie, if you give me your representative, or let's just stick with the lies. If you cannot be honest enough with yourself to be able to be honest with me, we're doomed from the beginning.
Last question for you, Queen. Great, great, great information. In your opinion,
Mm-hmm.
if you had to, on behalf of Black women, the sisterhood,
Mm-hmm. If I had to vote,
yes,
mm-hmm.
would you much rather see Black women alone after the age of 70, or would you much rather prefer they be part of a plural marriage situation?
Wow,
Which
that
reality do you think better serves Black women? Being alone as a senior, or being part of a plural marriage as a senior? Because so many of our elders, women, are
mm-hmm.
dying alone. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
wondering your thoughts on that. I mean, maybe there's some peace in that solitude, but I'm looking at the loneliness as well. And I'm just
Okay.
wondering, what do you think is better for our sisters when they get up in that age?
When you say alone, because do you mean alone and also doesn't have family outside of a
May
relational
have
unit?
some family who checks in to
Mm-hmm.
make sure everything's good, bills are
Mm-hmm.
paid, you clean, you get to your doctors, but they really don't have any intimacy. And I don't necessarily mean sexual intimacy, but that emotional intimacy with a companion of the
Mm-hmm.
opposite sex.
I think, in my opinion, again, I think it's situational. I think it depends on what kind of life that woman built for herself up to that point. So if she's built a life for herself up to that point, um, where she's really okay, where what alone looks like to us outside of who she is not the same alone. That's not her definition of alone. If she's built her life up to that point and that's the case, I think that she'll be fine alone. But if she's built her life up in a way that necessitates another person being there, I think that she should be open to being in a poly or whatever kind of relationship that is. I think that can be an option, um, depending on how she's lived her life. For example, if she was married for 50 or 60 years and her husband died and they had a monogamous
She
relationship,
might be
I think that would be,
okay.
yeah, she would definitely be okay. In fact, I'd put my first $1 million on that she'd never go for being in a in a in a relationship where she had to share her man. So again, it's situational. I don't think that it's a bad idea though if you need an intimacy, but that's just me. I'm kind of okay with those kinds of relationships, but again, situational.
Okay. And where do you, when you look at the young sisters, 20s, 30s, early 40s,
Mm-hmm.
where do you wish Black women would do better themselves in the dating game? Like, you know, what would be your advice to the younger sisters? What are you seeing from them that you're not liking?
I only have one. I only have one perspective, one real life perspective of that, and that is a friend of mine. My college friend group is still really close, so we take care of our kids together, and we know about our
Mm-hmm.
kids. His one of his sons is in college, and he's very handsome, very smart, plays football. Um, his number one challenge right now is figuring out how to have enough money to pay for a woman.
What?
Like to pay for her life, to pay for her nails, pay for her hair, pay for this, pay for that. And I think that that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard of in my entire life. Um, so for my younger sisters, and I do want to give you this disclaimer. I'm my next birthday, I'll be 45. I have 3 grandkids. I've been married, I've been divorced, been in a long-term relationship, starting in college, all of that kind of thing. And I know it's difficult to hear back in my day thing, but in terms of financial stability, in terms of cognitive ability, it's the same. It was the same for me as it is. Like nobody should expect anybody to be paying for them at that age. So my advice to sisters would be to be building yourself up at that age, to be independent while you are looking for that person, to be open to just having fun. Like if you want to go to the movies and your guy doesn't have it and you do have it, say, hey, let's go to the movies. Like those are your fun years. Nobody should have to worry about taking care of you at 21, 19, 18, just in college. It's ridiculous. And stop. That's all I got.
Thank you so much, Queen. Great information.
All
Thank you,
right. Thank you, Dr. Umar.
Mama.
Y'all have a
Enjoy
good
your
night.
evening. Beautiful. Likewise. All right. We got a lot of single queens out there, brothers. What we going to do now? What we going to do now?